The state's own expert gave away the store. And I thought maybe he would try to back away from some of the stuff that he said. No, he doubled down.
All right, we're here in Denver. We were just in federal court with Judge Gallagher on the, quotes, ghost gun ban by the state of Colorado, where we're challenging their ghost gun ban that was passed by the legislature and was enacted on January 1st, 2024. And we're asking for a preliminary injunction, which basically means hurry up, people are being harmed. Their constitutional rights are being harmed. Right, Barry?
Exactly. We filed our complaint. We filed our complaint on the day that the statute became effective, which was January 1. So your lawyer was working on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And
trudging away.
The number on this case is 24-1. So we're the very first case filed in the state of Colorado, and we said, hey, we're in a hurry. Get this case heard, get the preliminary injunction entered. So we started as soon as we could.
And now we're out here in March, and in the middle of a blizzard. The whole town shut down, but we still had the preliminary injunction hearing. It was interesting. We had some our plaintiffs and who came with us, and good guys who stood up and said, yes, we'll challenge this. This is wrong, and we want to stop this. And we want to be able to make, quotes, make our own handguns and make our own AR lowers and things like that, using polymer 80 kits or something like that to manufacture these as an individual, not as an FFL, but just as an individual, because we want to make these, which is not a small task. I've done it before. It's really tough. It's tough to get it right, especially ARs. So they came out and testified. We had Taylor Rhodes here too, who testified for Rocky Mountain gun owners, and of course I testified. And then they had their expert, which was the real interesting part. Now, but before I get to that expert, we really were going over questions of the plaintiffs, like, do you really want to make one? Well, yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's necessary because of what's called standing. You know, the government says, oh, you don't really need to do this, or you wouldn't really do this even if we let you. And if the answer says, yeah, you're kind of right, I wouldn't, then what are you complaining about?
Yeah.
And so
you got no case.
Yeah, standing is the what you beefing about element of federal law. And so the first part of our case is we established we actually did these. Our plaintiffs came in and says we actually made these. We had to destroy some of them, and we would do it again just as soon as we can. And we are now prohibited from making these. This is interesting part of the statute that some people don't necessarily pick up on right away. I know I didn't. I had to read it a couple times. But the statute actually prohibits you from making a frame or receiver, even if you get it serialized at the end.
This took some guts by these guys, because it's a little intimidating. You know, you're in federal court, and you got to get sworn in and stand up there like you're in, Perry Mason trial, and testify. And these people are just members of Rocky Mountain Gun Owners and the National Association for Gun Rights who raised their hands. So,
absolutely.
And they're standing right behind the camera, so I'm like,
all
nice
right.
job.
Yeah, our plaintiffs, our members showed up and did yeoman's work today.
Yeoman's work. So these are guys who just agree with us, and they're members just like you. So,
well, let me also add, nothing ever happens unless you have someone to complain about it and take a stand. Edmund Burke, all that's necessary for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. I'm glad we had some good men today.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we went through our plaintiffs and did some discussion with them, but then we had, and by the way, just so everyone knows, if you're a member of NAGR or you're a member of Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, you're a plaintiff. You are a part of this. We're representing you today. That's why we went through the snowstorm and Barry worked on New Year's Eve. So, but the whole point though is we got to their expert. Now, I was entertained by their expert. He was from UC Berkeley. Now, if you said, let's find the most far left institution in the entire country,
couldn't do better.
Couldn't have picked a better one.
Yeah.
and had gone to Harvard and to CU.
Yeah.
Mike, he just went from left to further left to the far off the edge.
Yeah.
And so he was their expert on history of firearms in America. And the interesting part is, I mean, he might know a little bit about, and certainly about some of the Revolutionary War and the 18th century, 19th century, but he doesn't know anything about modern firearms.
He more or less admitted that. Yeah.
He admitted it in court.
Yeah.
And what was great was watching Barry corral this man about the arguments he made. I'd like you to do it here, sum it up.
Okay. So in my papers, when I'd seen his preliminary statement, I said to the judge, the state's own expert gave away the store. And I thought maybe he would try to back away from some of the stuff that he said. No, he doubled down. And so I said, look, you admit that what we're doing here today is to determine whether there was a founding era regulation that was analogous to this ban that we're dealing with here. He said, yes. And I said, okay, in the founding era, individuals got parts from big gun-making concerns, and they also took locally sourced parts, put them together, and made guns. Yes, that happened. The government was aware of that. Yes, the government was absolutely aware of it. There was also gun violence in the founding era. Of course, there's always been gun violence since there's been guns. Okay, so put it all together. In the founding era, the framers were aware of gun violence. They were aware that private individuals were taking parts partially from pre-assembled and partially from their own sources, putting them together, and the founders never banned that. No, of course they didn't ban that.
The governments then, and the governments around then, did not ban them, they actually were putting bounties saying, please make more guns.
Far from banning it, they didn't even regulate it. They gave you money if you did it.
They were encouraging you. It would be like, think about that today, if the Colorado legislature passed a law says, we'll give anyone who manufactures firearms $10,000 just for manufacturing firearms this year.
Right.
A tax credit. I mean, I think that's a good idea, but
Yeah.
keep us safer. So Barry kept bringing this point and getting them to admit, and then showing that to the judge. Look, they made the case for us. It's the same thing modern as it was back then. They did not. Manufacturers, private people were making guns, and they made guns, but it was more difficult as an individual to make the whole thing from scratch. So you bought parts, and then kind of put them together and smith them together.
Finished it. Yeah.
And that's the same thing it is today. That is what quotes ghost gun, or
there were lots of ghost guns in the founding era.
Yeah, well, they were all ghost guns, or a lot of them were.
And so I said to the court in my closing argument, all you have to do to decide this case is listen to the state's expert, and it's game over.
So we thank you to Dr. DeLay. He did a great job.
Yes, he did.
For us.
He was honest. That's good.
I mean, we don't have to pay him.
No.
Wow. I mean, maybe we should send him a thank you bottle of whiskey or something. So now we're going to hear. He says in early April, but this is a Democrat-appointed judge, so probably won't win this here, but we'll see. I mean,
right.
You made the right arguments.
We made a good record for an appeal if it's necessary.
So. Yeah, hopefully it won't be snowing the next court appearance. Thank you. We'll keep you updated.
I think we owe this to our members, because our last time we were together was in Hawaii.
We were in Hawaii, so a little different.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.